Hello everyone and welcome to the Winecast. A recent cast on carbonic maceration and a still anticipated cast on Beaujolais have got me thinking about Gamay, an important grape in the wine world with lots of history behind it. So let's dive in for the story. Though most people just call it Gamay, the grape's proper name is Gamay Noir Jus Blanc, or black Gamay with white juice. A name it came by to keep it from getting confused with several other grapes called Teinturiers that have red pulp and red juice and that also got the name Gamay attached to them somehow. By the way, this isn't the only time that Gamay has ended up sharing a name with another grape. In fact, this grape seems pretty prone to getting confused with other grapes, so keep your eyes peeled, because we're going to have to do some additional disambiguation later in the cast. This varietal has been around for a while, with the first references to it showing up in the mid to late 1300s, specifically in Burgundy, where it seems certain that the grape originated. Speaking of its origins, it's now known that Gamay's parents are a pair of grapes with some history in Burgundy: Pinot Noir and Gouais Blanc. Pinot, of course, is still a pretty big deal in Burgundy, and while you won't see Gouais Blanc in Burgundy anymore, or in too many other places for that matter, its other child with Pinot, Chardonnay, still has a presence, to put it mildly. So yep, Chardonnay and Gamay are full siblings, though Chard has been the undisputed belle of the ball for quite a while, but Gamay had to put up with a few centuries of being the red-skinned stepchild. You see, though Gamay is a native son of Burgundy and was actually a huge help to the Burgundian economy after the Black Death on account of its natural vigor and fertility, it ended up on the wrong side of the powers that be and was actually banned from its home region by Philip the Bold, the Duke of Burgundy, in 1395, who called it a despicable and disloyal grape. Gamay, it turns out, didn't inherit from Pinot all of dear old Dad's sophistication and elegance, and it's a naturally acidic grape with lots of straightforward fruit flavors that can come off as rustic and maybe even harsh, at least by comparison. And as far as His Grace the Duke was concerned, it was taking up valuable real estate that might have been planted to Pinot Noir. So Gamay headed south and found a home in the neighboring region of Beaujolais, where the majority of French plantings of this grape are still found today. In addition to Beaujolais, there are significant plantings in the Loire Valley in northwest France, and despite having been ejected more than 600 years ago, there are still a few thousand acres left in Burgundy, mostly in the southern Mâconnais region that borders Beaujolais. Even Gamay's biggest fans will agree that it's a straightforward and relatively uncomplicated grape that delivers red fruit, especially black cherry and strawberry, but also brings along some savory components like pepper and minerals. It's high in acid and, depending on the soil that it's grown in, can even be extremely high in acid. So it plays well with the technique like carbonic maceration that, in addition to brightening the fruit flavors, also tamps down on the acidity. The tannins usually run from medium to low, and the body tends to be light. It's currently the world's 30th most planted grape varietal, finally settling there around 2010 after having bounced between 36th and 25th over the previous 2 decades. France is home to most of the world's Gamay with about 30,000 hectares or 74,000 acres under vine, with most of those being in Beaujolais and the Loire Valley. Switzerland comes in at a distant second with about 1/10 of France's total acreage. But don't let the absolute number of hectares fool you. Gamay takes up a whopping 17% of Swiss vineyard land. Gamay is also an important grape in Canada, Turkey, and Luxembourg. If you're looking to sample some Gamay, the best place to start, of course, is Beaujolais. And you'll want to be sure to try examples from across the spectrum of what's produced there. Though some wine lovers like to throw it some shade, you should start with the fruity and carbonic Beaujolais Nouveau and try it with an open mind. From there, you can try the generic Beaujolais AOC and then take a step up to Beaujolais Village AOC. Finally, check out wines from some of the 10 Beaujolais Cru, the very top tier of that region. We'll have a look at Beaujolais more closely in the next cast, so if you can wait a week, stay tuned for more information on how to approach this region. The Loire Valley should be your next stop, where you'll find Gamay blended with Cabernet Sauvignon and/or Cabernet Franc and Malbec, all of which will help give Gamay a lift in the tannin department and in the body department as well. And they can also add additional savory notes to the finished wine. Though there's not a lot planted in Burgundy, there's enough to support 2 regional appellations that use Gamay: In Bourgogne Pas-Tout-Grand, you'll find Gamay co-fermented carbonically with Pinot Noir to produce a fresh, brash wine that should be drunk young. And in Coteaux Bourguignon, you'll find Gamay made as a varietal wine or blended with other Burgundian grapes. If you can find them, check out Swiss wines made from Gamay, especially those from Valais. And producers from Oregon's Willamette Valley have been trying to take advantage of the Beaver State's ability to grow Pinot and Chardonnay, and have been planting Gamay there as well. And last but not least, for whatever reason, Gamay has been a magnet for name-related controversies, with 3 grapes that absolutely aren't Gamay somehow ending up with that name attached to them. Napa Gamay and Gamay Beaujolais were both grown in California and thought to be our grape until genetic analysis showed otherwise, and it's now known that the former is actually a grape from southern France known elsewhere as Val de Guiers, and the latter a clone of Pinot Noir that, fun fact, was brought to California by French winemaker and premature wine sales refusenik Paul Masson. And in the south of France, a grape called Abouriou ended up with not one, but 2 synonyms, Gamay du Rhône and Gamay Saint-Laurent, each trying to tie it to true Gamay, but no dice. Despite being a grape that was unceremoniously expelled from its homeland, it seems these days everybody wants to be Gamay. Thanks again for joining me for another Winecast. Now that I've got casts up on carbonic maceration and Gamay, it seems only natural for the next cast to be on Beaujolais, so look for that soon. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'd really love to hear from you in the comments. I'm the Unknown Winecaster, and I'm out. Enjoy the grape, but always enjoy it responsibly.